Hey guys, it's Melissa here from Aggressive Acres. I wanted to do a quick video to talk with you about what happened with our rooster. I mentioned previously he had been aggressive, and I think I briefly said in another video that I got rid of him. So we listed him for sale on Craigslist on Saturday night, and we listed him for $15 because he's a purebred Ameracauna rooster. So we had a gentleman text us at 6:30 Sunday morning, said he was ready to come pick him up. So it was perfect. This gentleman raises chickens. He hatches a bunch of eggs every month that he sells the baby chicks. He has a whole bunch of purebred Ameracauna hens to go with this rooster. So he was just replacing his older rooster, and ours was available. So it worked out perfectly. I'm glad that we didn't have to butcher him, something we had talked about, but we're really excited to do that at this point. So he's in a good home, and I think that will work out perfectly. So I wanted to talk to you kind of about how we came to the decision to get rid of our rooster. I mentioned he'd been aggressive, and we'd kind of been accommodating him and dealing with the kids out in the yard, keeping them away from the rooster, the whole thing. We've been doing that for about a month and a half. So I wanted to talk about how we came to the point where we finally got rid of him, because it was kind of a thing we kept putting on the back burner, didn't want to deal with, and then this weekend I realized we have to get rid of this rooster. So, I kind of think of it as a frog in the water situation, where if you put a frog in a pot of boiling water, of course it's going to immediately jump out. If you put a frog in a pot of cold water and slowly turn up the temperature, and it slowly gets hotter and hotter and eventually boils, the frog will eventually die. And I feel like that's kind of what happened here. It was a slow process where one thing would happen, we'd kind of accommodate him. At first I would be watchful of him in the yard, and then it got to the point now where every time I went out there, he was charging me. I had to carry a PVC pipe. When I went to get eggs, I would have the stick so that I could poke him because he had pecked my hand several times trying to get eggs. This was happening on a daily basis. And this weekend it hit me like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much we've been accommodating this rooster, who is really not a nice rooster. Not a little bit aggressive, but pretty kind of vicious. I'd say kind of vicious. So it kind of hit me this weekend, and one thing that hit me when I saw some older videos of how we used to just be out in the yard with the chickens and the roosters, and now we're always having to worry about, where's the roosters? Are they in? Are they out? Oh, did you put the roosters in, Mom? Can we go on the trampoline? It was a whole thing. It was a lot of stress and unnecessary drama in our daily lives because of this rooster. Another thing that also helped me kind of process everything and come to terms with it was this post that I found on Backyard Chickens. It's a post from Mrs. K, and I'm just going to read some parts of it that were helpful to me as kind of figuring this whole thing out. So the first thing that she talks about is how aggressive roosters and kids don't mix. This is, of course, the number one reason we got rid of the rooster. If you have small children, they can not only be terrorized, afraid of these roosters, but they can be seriously physically injured. If a rooster attacks an adult, maybe they're going to get some scratches on their legs, they're going to be a nuisance, it's irritating. If they attack a small child, they could knock them to the ground, they could attack them in the face. I've seen pictures where a child has a spur stuck in their, right next to their eye. This is not like, oh gee, the rooster's being a little bit irritating. This is like roosters that are really mean, that could cause serious harm to a child. So that's the first thing that she talks about, and then she says, I don't really think you can teach a raging hormonal rooster much. They don't have that much of a brain to teach. So for a while I've been thinking, okay, we can kind of accommodate, we can kind of deal with it, we can kind of work with them. No, I don't think you can at this point. I think some roosters, maybe in the early stages, if they show a little bit of aggression, you can work with them. If your rooster becomes all out vicious and it's going on for 2 months, no. You can't work with them anymore. That's a rooster that has to go. Has to go. So the next thing that she talks about, which really struck a chord with me, is that roosters are not pets. She talks about how in chicken society, fear is a demonstration of respect. When people make pets of roosters, especially roosters in a group of flock mates with no other birds to school them, the rooster chick loses any fear of humans and any respect. That really hit me when I read that line. And I thought to myself, yes, this makes sense. We treated our rooster as a pet. We held him, we played with him, we went out there and, held him when he was bigger, not just as a chick. And I definitely see how that's confusing for a rooster. These are domesticated animals, but roosters are wired in their brains. Their primary goal is to reproduce and protect the hens. So these animals are literally wired to be unafraid to fight to the death to protect a hen. That is not something that you keep as a pet, an animal that is wired that way. Even a nice rooster, keep your space from a nice rooster. Learn that respect for them and teach them that respect for you. An aggressive rooster, I mean, it's just not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk if you have that going on. And then she goes on to say they are not like puppies or kittens, where if you're good to them, they'll be good to you back. No. Unfortunately, chickens are not that smart, and roosters, who are hormonal and who are wired to be aggressive, to protect, that's what they're supposed to do. No, there's no reciprocation of kindness from a rooster. Then she goes on to say the third point that really struck with me is that she has a multi-generational flock. When the older birds school the younger birds and teach them respect. So that was big for me because obviously we raise all of ours together as chicks. She goes on to say, in a flock raised together as chicks without older birds, the rooster grows faster, gets bigger, and becomes sexually mature sooner than the pullets. This often makes them a bully, and when they bully the pullets, they become more brave and more aggressive. That was huge for me. Ours were all raised together as chicks. They didn't have any, guidance from older hens or roosters or anything like that to teach them kind of how to behave. So when all these things came together, and I thought, not worth the risk around kids. Roosters are not pets, and we've treated our rooster like a pet up to this point, and they have no other chickens that have taught them this respect. That kind of helped me realize this wasn't something we could fix. This wasn't something we should even try to fix. We're way past that point. This was just something that was the reality of having a rooster, and they're aggressive. Sometimes they're aggressive, and that's it. That's what you're dealing with. So I think we definitely made the right decision. I felt better immediately once he was gone. I just felt relief, calm, like I could actually go out in my yard again. So we feel good about this decision. And we still have the copper Moran rooster out there. I'm hopeful at this point that he will be a rooster that we can keep. He hasn't shown any aggression besides maybe 2 months ago. So right now I'm kind of keeping my distance from him, but still being around him and, not showing fear. So we'll see how that goes. We'll definitely keep you updated, and we're hopeful that maybe we can keep one rooster. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for checking in, and we appreciate you following along on our journey. I hope this video helps someone, if you're dealing with an aggressive rooster, to kind of just go through the thought process, just kind of think it out, think about some of these points that make sense, and kind of understand roosters a little bit better. So thanks for watching, and have a great day.